Peah, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Bet. In our last Mishnah, we learned that Midoraita, Peah is one of the things she'ein lahem shi'ur. It has no minimum amount. So let's just go over. We're going to see in the Psukim. The Torah says the following. The first time it appears, the mitzvah of Peah appears 2.5 times. We're going to focus on the first two in the Torah. First time it appears is Vayikra Perek Yud Tet, Psukim Tet Yud. Uvekutzechem beketzir artzachem. When you harvest the harvest of your land, Lo techale pe'at sarcha liktzor, v'leket ketzircha lo telakeh. You should not techale. It means to completely wipe out or completely remove the corner of your field as you cut. And leket ketzircha, the leket of your katzir, we'll go into leket later on in the Mishnah, etc., etc. La'ani, the Mishnah continues, la'ani v'lager ta'zav. You shall leave them for the ani, for the poor and the stranger. Ani Hashem Elokechem. The same pasuk appears in a different manner, again in Vayikra. Ubekutzechem beketzir artzachem, lo techale pe'at sarcha bekutzecha. When you are harvesting the land, you should not completely completely harvest the corner of your field. And we said, this is one of the things that has no minimum amount. The Torah says, give Peah, leave a Peah. How big is the corner? It could be the size of this iPod Nano. It could be the size of this cell phone. It could be the size of, a small field. The corner is as big as you want it to be. Came along Chazal and said, no. That's the Oraita. But our Mishnah says, talking about the Rabbana. So it says the Mishnah, En pochatin lepe'ah mishishi. Even though Midoraita, you can give, there's no minimum amount. You should not give less than 60th of your field for Peah. And this should remind us, the same is true with regard to Truma. Even though Midoraita Truma is one of the things, Midoraita Truma, you give us a minimum, there's no minimum amount. You can give a grain of wheat to the Kohen, your Yotzei Truma Midoraita. Chazal said the minimum you should give is a 60th. And a very generous person is a 40th. Nonetheless, this Shishim reminds us of that. And the Mishnah acknowledges, even though we just said, nonetheless, the appropriate amount, midrabanan, is a 60th. The Mishnah continues, Hakol lefi godel hasadeh, ulefi rov ha'aniyim, ulefi rov ha'anava. It all depends on the size of the field, the amount of poor people, ulefi rov ha'anava. Rov ha'anava, a very unusual phrase. Anava, in the way it's spelled here, anava is humility. So the Bartanura, as you see down here, says anava. Some write anava, they have the version of here, anava with a vav, i.e., a person's humility. So the more humble a person is, the more he understands that the blessings that he has are from God, and that he wants to share them with the aniyim. So the more humble you are, the more you're going to give. Others say, lefi anava, where the Bartanura says, you can see here, anava with a bet. And it means, godel hagargarim bekitnam. It means the size of the grains, the size of the produce that you have. He says what it means is, let's say you have parts of your field, and one part is really nice. In another place, they're very lean and not very productive. Don't be a jerk. I.e., if your field is nice in some places and pretty garbagey in other places, don't leave the Peah for the poor people from the garbagey corner. You should leave them appropriate amount based on the amount that you're going to give them. That's exactly what the Mishnah says. Size of the field, the amount of aniyim. If there are not many poor people, you happen to be fortunate in that way. I'm not sure if there is such a place. Then you have to give less. Lefi rova anava, and the greater your produce, or the more humility you have, that will determine. I think that this leads us a very fascinating. So how much do I have to give? The answer is, the Mishnah says specifically, minimum 60th, maximum subjective. Each person is going to decide for himself, and that's the way it is with tzedakah as well. There's who's checking. It's between you and God. But hakol lefi how many the aniyim are, how many poor people you know, lefi rohava hanava, how much humility you have. The amount of humility you have, the amount you believe that the blessings that you have come not from you and your ability to procure, but from the blessings of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that will determine your willingness to donate your produce or your money to the poor. As always, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to contact me at arspolter@gmail.com.